All right, we're going to continue with our media availabilities here at Phoenix Raceway. We are now joined by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Freight Toyota, who is our most recent race winner here at Phoenix, having won the fall race last year. We will open up to questions for Denny. Please raise your hand and we will get a wireless microphone to you. Start up front with Bob and then go to Wolfgang.
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. I know you were out here, but did you call into a competition meeting at all this week? And if so, how the conversations with Truex go?
It was good. I think we have a mutual understanding. It's. I think we both understand that 550 racing makes it extremely difficult to have teammates. A lot of times because it's so cutthroat in the way that you have to race out there. You're trying to give up, you want to give up any runs that you got. It's a lot like super speedway racing in my eyes. Kind of when you get runs, you got to take them, you got to put yourself in the best line as possible, and I think we both understand that for sure. I definitely see his point of view and understand his frustrations that he had. So I think it was a great conversation, and I think we have a better understanding of kind of where each other are mentally in those situations going forward. No kissing? No, we're too far away for that.
Going back to Wolfgang and then Devin and Jeff.
Wolfgang Monser from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. I have a technical question. In this NASCAR sport, when you go several times to the same racetrack, or from last year when you're winning, can you rely on the data, or you just work from scratch again when you're coming each year new to this track and set up the car?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long since we've come back year after year and things have been the same. It's once again different this year, even though we're kind of reverting back to 2018. You can look at data, but you still takes so long as a driver to change your discipline back to what it was with this rules package. So I know people that ran in the simulator said it took hours and hours to get just back around the racetrack in a competitive lap time, simply because we're so used to driving into the corner like we were with the larger spoilers. So I think it's going to take time. I think the guys that run good or win this weekend are either going to have a setup that they hit on that is really good, or they acclimated quicker to this package back to where we were.
Go to Devin and then Jeff. Sorry, did I get your name wrong?
No, Cole.
Oh, Cole. Sorry, Cole.
You're good. Cole Cusimano, Popular Speed. So on top of the new short track package and the tires coming here this weekend, how do you expect the PJ1, specifically in turns 3 and 4, to play a factor into the race? I know you were pretty vocal about that last.
Yeah, it will. It will play a factor. I'll be interested to see how it plays out through the Xfinity race and see if those guys make their way up there. In the Cup race, we always seem to find lines that the other series really don't. And we there's enough experience where people know and trust it. So I think it will be a factor, especially it being slightly lower. Looks like they drug the track as well, pretty much. So it will be part of the racing for sure. It's just a matter of, I don't think you'll see much of it in practice, not until the race, early to mid stages, where you'll see people going up there and using it.
Going to go to Jeff and then Dustin and then Steve.
Jeff Gluck from The Athletic. Did you guys get any answers as to why you've been off at Fontana and Vegas, or do you feel like this is something that you can make gains on and make progress, or are you just behind right now?
A little bit of all things. I mean, I think that it's collective. I mean, certainly if you look over the last, really over the course of my career, there's not been too many, bad years when it comes to JGR or Toyota. So I know I've got the best people working on it, and we didn't just sit stagnant in the off season. We developed just like everyone else did, but certainly you have one manufacturer that completely changed cars, so they probably most likely made significant advances, and then you got the Fords who were not going to just sit back and let us win all the races. So they went to work extra hard. So I think that we need a little bit of everything. I think you need the free speed and motors. I think you need less drag and more downforce. So all those things we need. And so I think that qualifying was one of those eye-opening things for us. I think being essentially one of the last cars of the big teams anyway, and really just a lack of overall grip and speed. So those are two really things that you got to have. You can have one or the other and still be competitive, but if you have both, you'll go out and dominate like the 88 had. So I think that that's something we're striving for, and I've got the best people on it. We're not going to just sit here and not be competitive.
Dustin Long, this is sports. Quick questions. One, I don't know if you've seen Ryan, it's obviously here on the track, but just the idea that a couple weeks later they can be back on the track.
Yeah, it's a great sight for sure. I know that I haven't got to physically see the car yet, but I know it looks really bad. And we know that from all the video and pictures that we've seen, it's a blessing to be in this position and be talking about when he's going to be back in the car, so especially at this time. So I'm really looking forward to it. NASCAR can give us all a good update about where they're thinking and what they're looking at going forward. So really optimistic about where our sport's going on the safety side.
Also, with a lot of the unknowns and with this package and moving forward, you're hearing more and more about drivers and teams going back to the simulator like Monday or Tuesday or shortly after the race to kind of go over things. Is that something that you'll go back to and do that this coming week, or why so?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of drivers do that. Some people feel that there's benefits in it, some don't. I think it's good to obviously back up some of the data that you have for sure, but real world experience is definitely the most valuable, but certainly it can cut some learning curve time in half, or even less than that when you have a good simulation program. So I think every team has it, and everyone uses it relatively the same way. Yeah, I mean, certainly this is a track that we're going to focus a lot on, more so than what we would on any other week, and we give all of our efforts every single week. But we know that with the championship being decided here, this is one that you really got to key on and make sure it's right. So either, yes, me or my teammates, or both of us, or all of us will do it.
You're going to go to Steve, back to Jeff, and then Rich.
Yeah, Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Denny, following up kind of on what Jeff said, the getting your arms around 2020, getting a little more speed in the race car. What challenges does this West Coast swing bring to that? And that, how do you adapt and get something quickly turned around to Atlanta and Texas? And how does that work with this West Coast swing and the challenges of cars, usually in transporters between here and there most of the time?
Yeah, and there's all kinds of challenges. I think the bigger your team is, or the more cars that you supply, the longer it takes to get everything in production and make changes. You got to get all the crew chiefs to buy in to this is the direction we need to go. Start some kind of design or some kind of different idea of how you can get there. Obviously, design has all been put on hold, so you really can't develop a new car. So we continue to just make sure that we're trying to do advances in the wind tunnel, making our setups as good as we can, making our simulation as good as we can. And it used to be, when you had new cars and things like that, or you had new body builds or something like that, typically if you're off in the beginning stages of the year, I mean, it can take as long as the Coke 600 before you can really implement all that stuff that you want in your race cars or race teams. So it's kind of a delayed results even when you have the right idea.
Going to go back to Jeff, and then Rich and Bob.
Sorry, you said they gave you an update. Were you talking about something that happened this week, or the preseason update?
On
You said NASCAR gave you an update when you were talking about Newman
Oh yeah, just kind of the car and things like that. They have great dialogue with us, talking about I think the questions got asked about will there be any rules changes, things like that, any chassis changes, and so they're continuing to investigate it and still work on it. So they gave us all that update and told us what they saw, and I think that everyone was pleased with that.
Right in front of you. There you go.
Looking to Atlanta next week, you've got one win there, but since that win, you've struggled quite a bit at Atlanta. What is it about that track that struggled? Why do you struggle there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel that's one of our better tracks. I'm not sure why our results aren't showing that, but yeah, I've always liked going to Atlanta. It's definitely one of my favorites for sure. It's definitely a driver's racetrack, one where a driver can definitely make up a little bit more than what his car can't give them. So, the challenge is getting your car to, you're coming off these smooth 1.5-mile racetracks or 2-mile racetracks where you're kind of getting in the swing of things again in 2020, and then you'll go there and you'll feel like your car is awful. Just when it's great versus the competition, it feels awful. So it's just managing, the experience of knowing, all right, this is a race-winning car feel for that track, and knowing that's the big advantages of it. But yeah, I look forward to turning around our results there, however bad they may be.
Gonna go to Bob and then Gannon.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Are the drivers, are you guys demanding changes from NASCAR for the plates stuff or after what happened, or do you not know what to ask for and you're more just interested in seeing where it should go?
I mean, I think, in his situation, it's really hard to say that that's a car problem or anything. I think unless you slowed us up 20, 30 miles an hour, you're going to have that in that situation. I'm no aerodynamicist, let's put that on the record, but I just feel like, some wrecks, especially these super speedways, when we talk about a car turning over, is when a car gets turned around and then someone hits the nose. Unless you slow way, 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 way down, that is gonna happen. So I feel like that was one of the worst case scenarios that we had, and luckily, knock on wood, we had a good result, right? All things considered, we had a very good result. So I think that's the people, the engineering staff at NASCAR and the teams that have been building these cars and figuring out where to put bars and all that have done a phenomenal job of keeping our sport safe for many, many years now, even though the wrecks have looked horrific.
Gonna go to Gannon right over here.
Gannon Hannibal, Arizona State University. I'm a college student who's completely new to NASCAR. What would your advice be to a new fan of the sport?
What would I want now?
What would your advice be to a new fan of the sport or someone who's interested in looking into it?
I think it depends on whether you're looking at it from a fan standpoint or trying to have a career in it. From a fan standpoint, learning about all the tech, what happens before you even get to Sunday. There's so many people that put these cars together, and it's just amazing the technology that's behind what makes the cars go fast. It's not just the driver that's willing to take the biggest risk. There's so much that goes into it. It really is, from a working standpoint, it starts at your local short tracks. It goes right at Tucson or wherever it might be, tracks that they're grassroots racing. Most of these crew guys that I see in the Cup Series now are people that I raced against in go-karts in Virginia, and the driving side of things didn't work out for them, and then they took either a crew chief or mechanic's role and just started helping someone at the local level. Once you create that resume at the local level, you're able to take it then to an ARCA car or K&N car, or those teams are always looking for help, and then you find the Xfinity and the truck teams will seem to pluck guys from that. So it's a path that people can get all the way to the top if they really work hard and want to make it happen. So I encourage everyone that wants to do it.
Awesome. Any final questions for Denny? We'll wrap up here with Lee.
Hey, Spencer Racing Boys. Just curious your thoughts on the Clash being run on the road course.
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. I mean, I guess I'll kind of reserve judgment on it for sure until I think the schedule is a win, no doubt about it. We were really down there for an extended period of time where a lot of things just weren't happening. So definitely love that. I can definitely see where, hey, these road course cars are no good anymore. Anyway, you might as well use them. The demand for next gen cars will be in short supply, so you don't want to crash them in an exhibition race. So I see everything around it. I understand it. It will be interesting from an excitement standpoint. I think there could be some hype and excitement because, hey, we're on the Daytona road course for the first time. But the challenges will be, are you going to see that side by side crazy finish that you do on the Super Speedway? Probably not. Some of the interesting things to me are you're going to have a road course car now running on the banking, and for such an extended period of time. How does that all work and things like that? So I think the field is likely to get spread out quite a bit more. Are we running a short track package? Or are we running a intermediate package? Like for spoiler, I don't know, because I think if you had the small spoiler like you'd run on every other road course, I mean these and big horsepower, 750 horsepower. I mean we're going to be. It's unrestricted. I mean we're going to be running 200 and something at the start finish line. So. I don't know how it all is going to work. I think it sounds good, but definitely will reserve until I see it all play out. I'll find out in February, though. Yeah, so I think it definitely will change our mindset on how we handle practices for the 500. Now, again, I don't know in what supply there will be cars if you do wreck in practice or the duels. So it's way far out in front of us, but it's something that I'm sure our team will be thinking about in the off season of how we're going to go by practices, because a lot of times I use the Clash as my practice because I didn't want to put the team behind by wrecking in practice, and then you're thrashing, got to bring cars to North Carolina. It's just a big pain. But I just don't know how many cars are going to be available and ready by that time.
All right, Denny, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.